We also need to be thinking about organizational culture and engagement. So not just individual engagement, that's super important, but what about that, the engagement across the organization, across groups and teams, and the individuals within those teams, institutional relationships that are important, and looking at the vertical and horizontal relationships within an organization. We know that a lot of people leave jobs because of their manager, for example. So everything else about the organization could be great. There could be great alignment between the values of the employee and the organization, a really powerful, engaging mission, great purpose. Everything else about the job could be wonderful, the types of work they're doing. And if the relationships with their team and with their manager are poor, people will still leave, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to make sure that we're monitoring those relationships and have mechanisms in place for that. So one simple tool that everyone could start using right away was developed by the Gallup. It's called the Q12 Index, and many of you may already be familiar with this. It's very simple. It's 12 questions, which means you can easily build this into interviews or create a very simple survey that you send out to employees asking these questions. Now, you can formally go through Gallup to be a part of this. And if you go through Gallup, then the data that's collected from your organization goes into their big pool of data they have hundreds of thousands of data points across organizations across the globe. And then you can get analyses that look at how your organization stacks up to other organizations and such. So that could be powerful comparative data that you can utilize. But whether or not you formally go through Gallup to do that, you can still use these questions within your own organization to measure really key areas of engagement. Do you know what's expected of you at work? I mean, expectations are so important, right? Do you know what your manager wants to be done? Is that clearly communicated to you? And do you know how to fulfill that, right? If that's not the case, there's going to be a clear mismatch in terms of your effort and what you're accomplishing. So that's important. Do you have the materials and equipment to do your work right? At work, do you have the opportunity to do what you do best every day? Or are you stuck doing other menial types of jobs that don't really leverage your capacity or what you bring to the table, so on and so forth. So you can see all these questions. You could very simply, with even just, you could use a Google form. You don't need any special software. You could use a Google form, put these questions into it, send it out to your team, get their input, aggregate the data, and track it over time. And that would be a powerful mechanism for you to have a general sense of engagement within your organization. And it wouldn't cost you any money, and you could do it immediately. Every organization could do this tomorrow, and it would be super simple, right? And it would start to yield some benefits in terms of insights to your organization, whether you have 5 people on your team, 10, 50, 100, 1,000, okay? So that's one approach. Would be super simple.